Hello and welcome to Council Agenda. I'm Alicia Brandt. Council Agenda is a short series on WMCT that gives councilors the opportunity to discuss the city at large and their ward. Today we have Ward 1 councilor with us, Councilor Joe Delano. Thank you for coming out today.
Thank you for having me, Alicia. It's a pleasure to be here.
Can you give us the status of the Sudbury Street Water Project and sewer project?
I'd be happy to tell you what I know. It's a very large project, and for those folks at home who may not know, the entire Sudbury Street itself needs to be reconstructed. Any of you that have driven it know it's in fairly deplorable condition. It's not really the safest road in the city, quite the opposite. And the project is going to encompass putting in sewers, putting in new water pipes, and then eventually resurfacing the road, and then over time putting the sewers out to the connecting roads off of Sudbury Street. That area of town is where about 90% of the unsewered area is in the city. And so that's the last remaining big area. And we have been very fortunate that for the past couple of years, 2 or 3 years, and this year as well, the City Council and Mayor Stevens and now Mayor Vigil have supported the project at a pretty expensive price, but it's going to really help the lives for the residents down in that area. Where we are now is we're actually waiting for the engineering firm to finish doing the design work. It actually should have been done a little while ago. And we specifically outsourced this work because we can't do it all in-house in the city. And so the sewer portion should be just about done. We're completing the water planning because initially we didn't think we'd have to replace the water pipes, and that did add a significant expense. So that should be done soon. Once they're done with the design work, it'll go out to bid, and once we get the bids in, we'll break ground. Unfortunately, because they are behind on the planning end of it, it looks like the bidding will happen later on this year, and we should be ready to break ground in the spring.
And is there a specific timetable for the sewer project, when it's going to be done? Or?
Well, part of it will depend on funding, but we should have Sudbury Street itself done hopefully once we break ground in a couple of years, because the way it works is you go in, you dig things up, and in this case we're going to have to go fairly deep in Sudbury Street to put the sewer pipes because you need to put them on angles so that gravity does its thing. You resurface the road temporarily. You allow for a freeze and thaw cycle because you have to let it freeze over the winter, and then it settles, and then you come back and you can complete the top of the road. Part of the project is also going to include sidewalks and making that road just a little bit safer for people to travel. So it's very exciting. I've been working on that since before I got on the City Council with my old friend and mentor, Robert Katz, who was the Ward 1 councilor before I.
Well, I'm sure it's great to see it progressing and breaking ground in the relative future.
Absolutely, and this year was the biggest hurdle because we've gotten some funding before for the planning, etc., and parts of it, but this year we got a major amount of funding approved by the City Council and Mayor, so we're very excited about it.
Speaking of funding, all of the budget meetings have just recently finished up. How was Ward 1 affected by the final state budget?
Well, I'd say it's not only the state, it's the city budget that we finished, and we just started here in July, the new fiscal year. And I think with great leadership by the mayor and certainly good cooperation by the City Council, we were able to put together a budget that's fairly modest in growth, and is going to keep tax increases pretty minimal, certainly lower than many of the city and towns around us. And we just, only a week or so ago, got the final budget from the state that really turned out very well for Marlboro. We should be in line for about over a 20% increase in funding from the state, which I'm not sure how we got that, but not many city and towns around us got near that amount. So that's going to help us out a little bit, which will allow us to do things for the city, services, and help our schools, etc., without putting that on the back of the property owners. So we're pretty happy about that.
Also, in your ward is the new community garden.
Yes.
How do you feel about the community garden? How's it going? How's the feedback?
Well, it's going really well. We had been talking about this for a couple of years, and And big thanks to Priscilla Ryder, our conservation director, as well as the Conservation Commission. We were able to find a plot of land right next to the old Morrow farm. And through volunteers and the Boy Scouts and others, we were able to dig this out, get the stones out, get a fence put up with to keep the animals out. And we have, I want to say, about 30 plots there. And I have one with my wife and our friend, and we go in there, several times a week, and everything's growing. It's beautiful, and it's working very well. Hopefully they're going to get a well dug soon, because we have to carry these big 5-gallon buckets of water, and that can be a little work, although I need the exercise, so it's good. But it's a lot of fun, and part of it is that we want to grow locally. We don't want to have trucks having to deliver everything. We're getting good, nutritious food. It's being grown organically. We all decided that we're going to make it organic, and it's working great. So it's fun. We're meeting new people, and it's an exciting community event. And hopefully next year we'll have another, and it's good. This is good.
Yeah, so that was my next question. Is the community garden going to be available for years to come in the same location, in additional locations?
Well,
or?
I think this is a pretty good location, and the plan is, because we put a lot of time and effort, and a young man, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry to say, a Boy Scout, an Eagle Scout, got that fence up for us at quite a bit of time and expense. So I think that's going to stay there for quite a while. And I know Priscilla's looking at different spots around the city to put up another 1 or 2 of these locations. So we may add 1 per year and see how the demand is. There was, we didn't have enough plots this year to satisfy the demand, so hopefully it'll keep growing. It's a fun thing.
Yeah, it seemed to be very popular when I attended a couple of the meetings earlier in the season. So
Indeed,
that's great
indeed.
that everything's growing and everything's going according to plan.
Right, and some of us are learning, like myself, and others are pretty good at it. So I think as we all learn, it's going to be a great event.
Is there anything else going on in your ward that may affect residents?
Well, there are always things going on in the ward. I would say right now, some things that may affect some of the folks in my ward is something that we just completed last night, which is a tax work-off program for our senior citizens. We unanimously approved it last night for people 60 and older. There are certain wide guidelines for income, but people who want to come in and do some volunteerism can get up to $1,000 taken off of their property tax bill. We think that's going to be a pretty good thing. I know Mayor Vigent is working diligently to try and find a location for the new senior center. That's something I've been pushing since day one. I think we're long overdue for a senior center, and so hopefully we'll have that nailed down in the next few months, and we can get that going, because I know there's a lot of seniors in my ward, both at New Horizons and Villages East, and really the whole ward, that are looking for something much better than we have now, and they certainly deserve it. So hopefully that'll come to fruition very soon.
Will the senior center be an additional location in addition to the one on Main Street? Or?
Right. Well, really the location on Main Street is really senior housing. And then on the bottom floor we have some room some rooms, I should say, that are used by the senior center and Friends of the Seniors, but it's not nearly what they deserve. So we want them to have their own facility so they can do many more activities, so we could be much more inclusive for people all over the city. And I know we're going to get there, and we've got the momentum now. So it's just finding that location, designing it, and getting it done.
Great.
Yeah.
Everything sounds like it's going great over the summer. So thank you so much for coming out today. And you've been watching Council Agenda with Ward 1 Councilor Joe Delano on WMCT-TV. I'm Alicia Brandt. See you next time.